everyone! I apologize for my scenery. I'm actually in the car right now, parked, of course. I am on a work trip this week and am unable to perform my comedy skit in front of other people. I am in between meetings actually at the moment, so I ran out to my car really quickly and am gonna try and perform my skit for you guys as my audience. Pretend that you guys are here watching me. And we're just gonna see how this goes. So I apologize that I am ridding you all of the golden opportunity of seeing me attempt to perform in front of a live audience, which I am sure would have been quite amusing. But I'm working with what I got here, guys. We're working with what we got. Alright, so let's give this a shot, see if we can make this work. Hopefully you laugh. We'll see how it goes. Okay. A common talking point for many people is family. Whether it's first date conversation, lunchroom gossip in the workplace, or just catching up with an old friend, family is a go-to topic. Now, this can go in a lot of different ways, so bear with me. You've got the moms that never shut up about how wonderful and amazing their kid is. For example, yeah, Gretchen is in the top 10 of her class. She was at 11, but she just has the best work ethic. She really kicked it into gear the past few months. We really think she's going to be the smartest kid in her first grade class. Don't we, honey? Then you've got your little Tommy did so well batting last night. But our Steven, he's batting at 294. We really think he's going to make the MLB, so we've already started looking at really great baseball programs for him. We can always send you the information, and you can look at it for Tommy, too. Then you've got my family life is too unbearable to talk about, so I'm going to give you minimal information until you get the hint and quit asking. Then you've got so how's your mom doing? Is she liking that you are closer to home? Yeah. And your dad? Still fishing every weekend? Yep. Gosh, you just have the best parents. I really miss seeing them. They're pretty great. You've got your normal family talk conversationalists, the ones that never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, even ask about family. And then there are those that you don't really know what category to put them in, but they do make you wish that you never asked in the first place. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my category. So, it's complicated to explain, but let's see how we can go about this. My mom's side of the family is from all over the world. My mother's from Argentina, her mother's from Italy, and her father is from Japan. There was a lot of moving around and all there for people to, have their lives coincide, but they all got there eventually. I have family in all of those places, plus probably 10 or 15 more. We're from all over the place. So because of this, there was a lot of tradition and habitual behavior that I was raised on. For example, I grew up eating dinner between 8:30 and 9:30 p.m. It's a little bit odd. This gave me plenty of time to writhe around in hunger. After practices let out at about 6 o'clock at night, because a snack was out of the question, and I would ruin my appetite. Yeah. You try going to weights at 5 a.m. that morning, going to school all day, eating a crappy public school cafeteria lunch, going to practice after school for 2 hours, and then coming home being told you're not allowed to have a snack because you're going to spoil your dinner. Yeah, give that a go. Another Latin family tradition is the decibel level that surfaces when we're all together. And I don't know if this is a tradition, a trait, or an unfortunate circumstance of mine, but it happens. This is not even mentioning what that decibel level gets to when we're watching an Argentine soccer game. Just to give you a small idea, I have friends that now refuse to come over and watch the game for fear of my mother. My mother is 102 pounds and 5 foot. She's not a scary lady. She has what I would call a sports fan outburst tendency. These outbursts usually consist of throwing of couch cushions and remotes, clapping of her hands, and a string of profanities, in Spanish of course. But the interesting thing is, these are never directed at herself, they are directed at others. Mind your head, mind your arm, mind your existence of being, because a couch cushion is coming at your head at about 12 miles per hour, and if you get thwacked, you're going to regret it. So while this part of my family is interesting, it wasn't exactly the side that I was referring to. See, there's the loud, spirited Latin side, and then there's my dad's. If I were to do an ancestry DNA test, it would come back with some of the typical normal American genealogies: German, Irish, French, Native American, blah, 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 blah. When my family came to the United States back in the day, they settled in the hills of Kentucky and Tennessee. It's a beautiful area from what I understand. I just wouldn't get caught in the woods after dark. I would definitely start running if you hear a banjo playing. And I wouldn't be that surprised if you found a toothless hillbilly making moonshine in there somewhere, but, odd dated Tuesdays maybe. In all seriousness, I come from hillbillies. And believe me when I say, I had no idea for the longest time. I come home from school one day to find my dad in the armchair reading a book. This in itself was a shocking occurrence for me, so once I regained consciousness from the sheer amazement of finding my father reading a book on a Tuesday afternoon, I went and finally asked what it was that he was reading. He responds by closing the book, handing it to me, and saying, "You should read this. It will really help you understand where you come from." Intrigued, obviously, I turned the book over to read the cover, only to find out that it is entitled Hillbilly Elegy, a memoir of a family and culture in crisis. Let me just read that one more time for you so that you really get it. Hillbilly Elegy, a memoir of a family and culture in crisis. Go back a little bit ago when I said that my dad said to read this because it will help me understand where I come from. I don't know many of you, but I do know that you probably have seen enough of me to know that I have no hillbilly in me. Or at least you thought. Until this lovely scenario. I went from being impressed that my father was actually sitting down to enjoy a piece of literature, to concerned for his mental well-being that this was the literature that he had chosen to spend his time reading. Well, Bella, just because your dad is reading a book that's about hillbillies, that doesn't really prove that what you're saying. Oh, just you wait, my friend. There's more. Every year, my grandfather attends a family reunion for a part of the family that only my dad and his siblings have ever met. My cousins and I have never been allowed to go. I was the first one that was invited. One year, my grandpa invited me along. His only instructions were to bring my guitar and a cup. An odd combination, but I went along with it without question. After driving for what seemed like years in what appeared to be the smack dab middle of uninhabited nowhere, we arrived at a barn with a trailer nearby. Excuse me. I've been drinking the moonshine from the hillbillies. I get out of the car and I walk alongside my grandpa into the dilapidated barn to be welcomed by an overwhelming smell of fried food and the sound of banjos. What I saw, well, let me just try and explain it for you. All of the men had long, scraggly beards. Some weren't wearing shoes. Mind you, it's November. There were lots of overalls, tattered baseball caps, and just random dogs meandering and wandering around amongst the people. Mind you, people are eating. No one found it odd. I quickly realized why my grandfather told me to bring a cup, which I feel like now is a good time to mention. I forgot. There was a wooden barrel filled with a clear liquid that I find out is water. better than moonshine, you would say, but in this situation, I would argue that I would rather it have been moonshine because of what I'm about to experience. So the wooden barrel is filled with a clear liquid, water. There's a large ladle floating in it. So you either brought a cup to drink out of, or you utilized this communal watering hole. Mind you, this is 2017 that I went to this thing. A communal watering hole that featured this old metal ladle that I was probably going to get tetanus from if I drank out of it. And I saw like 5 or 6 old toothless men drinking straight from it. My cornbread went down without one drop of water, and let me tell you, it was dry. Yes, people, this is something that I just cannot make up. This is real life. When I was going to serve myself some food via the buffet provided, because mind you, fried food smells pretty good, so I'm not going to miss out on the food. I've heard that hillbillies can cook pretty well, so I wasn't going to, stick my nose up at it. When I went to go serve myself some food, I asked my grandpa what kind of meat was in the gravy. Now, I am strictly a sausage gravy girl. I do not eat any other meat in my gravy. Won't happen. Won't touch it. Not entering my mouth, not going in my stomach, not even getting near it. So, it was an important question for me to ask. Why, that there's squirrel meat! Fresh too, just killed it this morning. I turned around to see a man, bear with me here, with 2 teeth remaining! 2! Now, I don't mean to sound like a pansy, but my appetite was gone after this encounter for many reasons, okay? 1, he was one of the ones that didn't have shoes on. I don't like feet. You know how I don't like other meat besides sausage in my gravy? Yeah, I really don't like feet. 2, this man's oral hygiene did not give me comfort in his hand-washing abilities. Pretty, fair correlation there. And 3, squirrel meat. I don't think that one needs any explanation, guys. Now, when my grandpa told me that it was time to leave, I think it was one of the most relief-filled moments of my life. I was ready to go home and promptly shower and eat something without squirrel meat because, I hadn't eaten anything all day. I try not to tell this story too often as I'm afraid to scare people off from meeting my immediate family, for fear that they may put questionable meat on the dinner table, but rest assured, my dad, his parents, and siblings are all relatively normal. I mean, compared to the toothless hillbillies they are. All in all, I was able to grow up with an interesting background. Let's put it this way, I was never bored. And you know what? I bet there are some of you listening to this thinking, my God, she must be crazy. And I'm sure that there's others of you that are thinking, if she only knew what I had to deal with growing up. And to you guys, I say, congratulations. So family, a great talking point for some, but honestly, I think I'm just going to stick with the weather. Okay guys, thank you for listening, and I've really enjoyed working on this, so I hope that you enjoyed it. And again, I'm very sorry for the lack of audience. I did not plan very well, and this work trip kind of sprung up out of nowhere, so I appreciate it, and I apologize for the coughing. I think I have some sort of allergy thing going on right now, but I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!